So that meeting happens, and something changed, because that meeting allegedly, according to our sources, has spurred renewed with intention meetings with the SEC and the Big Ten. And apparently they spent the weekend, Monday and Tuesday, in conversations talking about the framework of an agreement that would allow them to form a new entity. And I think it's exactly what needs to happen. These two back at the table working together to move college football specifically, but college athletics forward, I think is absolutely imperative. They're the only two that have the ability to do it because of the contractual setup of the college football playoff. It gives them all the leverage that they need. And I think that it's what needs to happen, because as I continue to tell you on this show, and, you know, in talking to a lot of administrators around college athletics, nobody else has the desire. Nobody else has the ability, the tools and the capabilities, the relationships to put something together of enough significance to change the way the game of college football is managed. Greg Sankey is the only one that can do that, because Tony Petitti just doesn't have the juice. And I think we've talked about this for months and months. The way that Tony Petitti handled that scumbaggery at Michigan really kind of cut the legs out from underneath him as far as a power player. It's not his TV contract. I was talking to a guy yesterday who made this very clear. Tony Petitti did not negotiate or build the TV contract that the Big Ten is currently under. He's not responsible for significant revenue generation conference-wide. And he lost a lot of respect with how he handled the Michigan situation.
Facts.
But yet he's in a position to essentially put a rod through the spokes. And if that is what it has been going on, in fact, and I believe if you look at what's happened in recent time between the Big Ten and the SEC, I think that's exactly what's gone on. The idea that these two are now back talking, and the two committees, because the SEC and the Big Ten each had a committee that were working on this and they stalemated. The fact that those two committees are able to get back together and have had substantive conversations over the last several days is a huge breakthrough. And I think if that's all that this meeting at that place of significance in the District of Columbia produced, I think this is a huge moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, the meeting at that place of significance, you know, I think sent messages to many people. I think that, you know, for these two, it's very clear coming out of that meeting that they're the ones that can initiate movement. And I think, you know, I'm not really sure that that was lost on Greg Sankey before this meeting. I think he's understood that. I don't think that's new for Greg. I think for Tony, he's more the one that was impacted by it and understands that, you know, yeah, like I need to get a win, basically. I need to do something that helps push this conference forward. And if you remember, the gripe between these two kind of was set off by the CFP model conversation and the Big Ten wanting a 24-team playoff with a bunch of auto bids and stuff like that. And that's kind of where I felt like these two sort of stopped talking and kind of went their own ways. And it's really one of these deals where it's like, you know, the more issues that come up, the more things that we have to solve, the closer these two rivals become, if you will, the closer these two competitors become, because they have to get together to be prosperous moving forward. And I just think it's this situation where I don't think that the SEC wants to break off on its own. I don't think they have any desire to do that. I don't think that makes sense for them.
Not at all.
In many portions of the conversation, from a competitive standpoint, from a monetary standpoint, certainly from a distribution rights standpoint. And the obvious, hey, we have relationships across college football, and we want to maintain those relationships. It's not to say that we want to carry the G6 or like go above and beyond, but it is to say that we don't want to burn the relationships that we've built with, let's say, the Big 12 or whoever you want to point to. And I just think that these two are the two parties that are responsible for moving the game forward. And we see this in different sports. I think golf is a good comparison to what's going on here. If you look at live golf and the PGA Tour being at odds with each other and being in this standoff, and like you see the division between these two. And the only difference is that golf is a professional sport where you don't have all the issues college football has. So it's really just a matter of pride and a matter of money and getting dudes paid. This is much more a matter of taking care of people, the health of the game, making sure that your TV distribution partners are happy. Like there's a lot of stuff here. So these two can no longer, in my opinion, afford to be on different pages. And that's why you see coming out of this meeting at a location that shall not be named with an individual who shall not be named. That's why I think you're seeing all this movement now.
Well, and I also think it's really significant that when you look at this situation, I think there's no question that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to form a new entity. When that happens, how that happens, I think is very interesting. But the conversation that I had yesterday is that the SEC and the Big Ten want most, but not all P4 teams. And I think this goes back directly to the Big 12, because my belief is, and what I've been told repeatedly is, Greg Sankey and Brett Yormark are very close. They have mutual respect and admiration for each other. They work well together. And I think that is of major significance. And then when you look at the situation that I've talked about repeatedly on this show, not everybody in the Big 12 is trying to win games. Not everybody in the Big 12 is doing everything that they can do to win financially. And I am telling you, if Smash Capital and the Big 12 get into business together, Brett Yormark will resign. I was told that again yesterday. Point blank when reaching out to people on this story. Brett Yormark is a hard no on Smash Capital. And I actually agree with him. In this current climate in the Big 12, Smash Capital is the overwhelming winner in that kind of agreement. And you should not, if you're the Big 12, with your current management, with what's going on at, when you look at the incompetence at Oak State, you look at the incompetence at TCU, the incompetence at Baylor, you look across this league at what's going on at K-State and what's going on at K-State and what's going on at Kansas, and you look at what's going on at Iowa State. Why on earth would you want Iowa State involved in a new football entity? Help me understand that. Why would you want to be in business with Oak State? Why would you want to be in business with Baylor? When it's so clear that those universities and many like them are not willing to do what's required to win every day of college football, 365 days a year. Yeah, and the answer is you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
You would not.
You wouldn't. And I think that's, again, that's why the Big Ten and the SEC are the ones that are in control, because they've done the most winning recently at the highest level. So if the Big 12 had been, had been the ones in control or had been the ones doing the winning, they would be in the middle of this conversation. And I think that it's, when you look at the Big 12 and Smash, and you look at, where the Big Ten and the SEC are, the difference in situations couldn't be clearer. You haven't dominated the CFP era the way the Big Ten and the SEC have, which means that you're not making the money, which means that you're now seemingly, certainly the optics appear to be that presidents in the Big 12 are somewhat desperate for the Smash Capital money, that they're money hungry, that they want to do that, something terrible. And, Brett is telling them not to do it. And I guess I just don't understand, if you look at, other things that involve Brett Yormark and the things he's tried to do, if you take a look at like expansion and how that's worked out, if you look at other opportunities post Pac-12 meltdown, like Gonzaga or even the rumblings around UConn. Like, I think not adding UConn was a good choice. That's a dumpster fire waiting to happen.
Well, but remember why the Big 12 and UConn, again, another Monty Show exclusive that we had that now everybody is aware of. Why didn't the Big 12 want to add UConn? Because the Big 12 didn't want to subsidize UConn football. UConn doesn't have their own stadium. They don't revenue generate through their stadium, and they lose significant amounts of money every year. And the price you pay for UConn basketball is you have to carry the freight and pay them a full share for football, and the Big 12 was not willing to do that. And justifiably so. Justifiably so. They did not want to, and it's a savvy business decision. Why didn't Gonzaga want to join the Big 12? Because these are the two that everybody talks about. Gonzaga didn't want to join the Big 12 because they want a free pass into the NCAA tournament every year.
Gonzaga.
And Gonzaga got that in the Pac-12. Gonzaga wouldn't have gotten that in the Big 12.
I like Gonzaga.
And I think that's a very significant difference in the way that Brett Yormark does business and the way he advises his membership to do business. So he made a good decision on Gonzaga. He made a good decision on UConn. He's telling you to stay away from Smash Capital because, and I understand that everybody wants to get excited and it's this, and Smash Capital for this conference is a bad idea because you don't have presidents and operators at universities in this league who are willing to do everything they need to do to make money for their universities through athletics. And if, again, the Oak States, the Baylors, the Iowa States, the dregs of the Big 12 don't understand that and don't illustrate that, I don't know. There's no more clear example than those three universities. You are allowing yourself to be terrible because you don't have, maybe it's intestinal fortitude, maybe it's certainly a lack of leadership. You look at, again, Oak State and Baylor have awful leadership, terrible leadership, horrendous decision makers who just keep their jobs, keep their positions, stay empowered. Yet when you look at the Big Ten, or you look at, certainly the SEC is an example of this, the SEC has in-house accountability. It's why you are seeing people like Vanderbilt. As much scumbaggery happens in the Pavia clan, you are seeing people like Vanderbilt raise the bar. If Vanderbilt's not one of the best examples of it, but you look at Oklahoma State, you look at TCU, you look at Baylor, you look at Iowa State, you look at what's going on at K-State, you look at what's going on with Kansas football.
UCF.
You look at UCF, a great example, UCF, and you're getting your doors blown off by the Brinks truck in Lubbock and BYU, who's new to the league, right? At least Cody Campbell has absolutely set an expectation and level set at Texas Tech. And again, what do I always say? Rising tides raise all ships. Texas Tech is essentially the financial bar in this league now. BYU is the example of how to win across all sports. Yet you have somebody like Oklahoma State who will do nothing to win anything. You have Baylor who is straight up told you, yeah, we would have fired Dave Aranda, but when we would have had to hire a new coach, we don't want to do that. Please. and you want to go sell your soul to Big Daddy Moneybags at Smash Capital, and you think that's going to end well, that's why, in my opinion, the SEC and the Big Ten are not just going to take every Power 4 team, nor should they.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that you can't sit here and do what some of these schools in the Big 12 have done or haven't done really, and claim that you care about winning or claim that you're prioritizing winning or things like that. And it's really interesting. Every time we talk about the Big 12, we always get the also ran people that come in here like comments like this. This is what I always think is funny. You have no idea what's going on at K-State. Well,
yeah, we do.
I may not live in Manhattan, bro, but we told you that bringing Avery Johnson back was a mistake. We told you that the football program was going the wrong direction, and it has been for 2 seasons now. We then told you that you needed to clean house and you needed to basically reset that program. And we also told you, since you guys all thought it was a good idea to run Will Howard's ass out of that program, that was a bad idea. So do I live in Manhattan?
And then you begged Chris Kleiman to stay. You begged him to stay. Even though the football program was a dumpster fire, your job is safe here. And then you were emotional when he retired.
So
come on.
So we may have, if we have no idea what's going on at K-State, then I don't know what you're saying about your own administration, because the program is the perfect example of waiting way too long to get better. And now you're paying the price.
Yeah. The Chad Carter, I hope Yormack does resign. Big Ten can replace Petiti. There you go. Which I think has to happen. TCU fan James, why does he keep bashing? Who's he? Who do you mean? Why does he keep bashing Oak State when they got rid of Gundy and now have the best QB in the country? One of the best. He's not one of the best QBs.
He's not one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
He's not.
See, again, this is the problem. This is the problem. You guys as fans have no ability to be objective about your team. Like, and I understand fans is short for fanatics, and of course you're going to be subjective, and I get that, but
why are you talking about Oak State? You're a TCU fan.
Yeah, 1, you're a TCU fan. Stop talking about Oak State. 2, let's stop exaggerating or trying to shine a turd here, dude. Like, the truth is that you're not going to the CFP, and you're not even close to going to the CFP. And the reality is you and all these other schools, right? This group of schools that we constantly talk about in the Big 12 are not prioritizing athletics in a way that allows you to be successful. And Gundy was the poster child of it at one point, but since you're so hell bent on pointing out that he's gone. So let me get this right. You fired Mike Gundy, and this was supposed to be like a turning point in the program. And we're supposed to believe that you, after all the mediocrity, after the last decade of what you did, that you're just going to turn it around and you're somehow going to compete for the Big 12. I don't believe it for a second, dude.
Jake, it's we hired a coach from the G5, and we brought in his quarterback, who's the best quarterback anybody's ever seen. Don't forget it. Well, wait, hang on. He's not better than Zane Flowers.
Right.
And Zane wasn't
Zane Rose Petals.
Zane Flowers.
Right.
I know it's never mind.
Monty, it's Flores. You don't know anything about K-State.
Zane Flowers, and he's not better than Alan Bowman. Like, this is the same nonsense that Oak State fan ran out for years and years and years.
You guys have been peddling this take for like 10 years, dude. And this is why I say, like, when you guys are criticizing me yesterday for this garbage about whether Dan Lanning's doing good enough or if Sark is good enough, or if like any of these CFP guys who are in the CFP regularly are good enough. Like, yeah, dude, it is good enough because you've got ass programs like Oak State and TCU and K-State and UCF and all these also rans in the ACC and the Big Ten who just aren't willing to invest. So it puts me in a position where I'm like, yeah, dude, I'd rather have Dan. I'd rather have Sark. I'd rather have Lane. I'd rather make the investment, spend a bunch of money, Operate right on that fine little tipping point. Notice the profitability line for our program. If that means we're on national TV in January, yeah, I would. Absolutely, I would. And anybody who tells you that oh, well, you don't know anything about our program, I know all I need to know. That's the difference between us and you guys as fans. You guys want to make all these excuses for stuff happening behind closed doors and in meetings and in IPFs and boardrooms and file rooms. And I'm simply sitting here talking about that you're not on the football field in January. So until that takes place, I don't know what you expect us to say. I don't know what you want. I don't know how you want us to be positive about a program that made bad decision after bad decision and is just not moving in the right direction.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't won a conference game in 2 years. And now you want to celebrate. Well, we fired Mike Gundy. You sat here for years and said he was one of the best coaches in the history of college football.
Look at all the bowl games. Look at all the 10-win seasons. My God.
Oak State beat the tar out of Colorado last night. What does that have to do with being an attractive business partner? What does that have to do with anything? Like, yeah. When the tang goes bad, it turns the fruit bad. I've heard that. And that's the thing at K-State has a great fan base, a decent, not elite NIL base and booster support. And yet, what do you continue to get? Bad decision-making, bad hires. Now, Colin Klein, there's no way to question that, what you've done. Now we need to go out and we need to hire a football or a basketball coach. And it needs to be a basketball coach of note and one that is prepared to turn that program around. Because you need K-State, I think, is critically important to the Big 12. Mm-hmm. We need in this league, because Notre Dame's in the Big 12 as well. We need Kansas to win football games. I cannot tell you how important that is, that Kansas win football games. I know that sounds crazy, but if you have K-State and Kansas competing in both basketball and football, this is a much stronger league. It's what I've said about Oak State for years and years and years. If Oklahoma State was the bedrock, the foundation of this league would be substantially better off. But if you're Oklahoma and Oak State begged you to leave the Big 12, would you support them joining your business? Would you ingratiate Oak State into your business?
No.
Why would you? They don't want to play the best teams.
They have no idea what it's like to operate at the monetary level that the SEC and the Big Ten are operating at, dude. You don't understand the responsibility, the intensity, the intentionality you have to have every single day to make that thing go round. Like, this isn't some accident, dude. This isn't some matter of convenience that these two are superior. And you know what the real indictment for the Big 12 is that, Iowa State was a contender for the league last year at one point, and now they're not going to really be where they were. I mean, I think everybody and their mom would be surprised if this squad contended for the conference this year after losing Campbell and everything that went on in the offseason. And again, Iowa State was the program under Matt Campbell who was like, oh, well, we don't need to pay our players. Our players stay on loyalty, except for when their head coach leaves to go to a better program in Penn State. And then it turns out that, I guess the whole loyalty angle wasn't as dynamic as we thought it was. So I guess I just get tired of trying to spin the fact that these Big 12 schools that don't compete are just that. Like, fans try to spin it and say, oh, well, we fired our head coach and Klein was seen as a good hire. And,
oh, look, this one right here. We begged him to go. You did not beg him to go. Your administration sat up there and said he had a job as long as he wanted it.
Yeah.
You guys, this is who the Big 12 is. This is who the Big 12 is. And you listen to all these fans. Oh, Oak State, we're the best. You're not. Oh, we held the door for them. You didn't. No, you held the door for Will Howard. You didn't want Chris Kleiman to leave. And listen, Colin Klein is an amazing hire. An amazing hire. But you on some level have to be self-effacing. You have to be accountable, and you're not. And K-State, again, I can only say it so many times. K-State is really important to this league, especially now with Iowa State football going to flounder for I don't know how many decades now. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong about that, because I am telling you, the Big 12 is better when Iowa State is a national contender in football and basketball. Their basketball program is one of the best in the country right now. Their football program has no talent in it. The Big 12 is not committed. And at the end of the day, this is the conversation.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Big 10 and the SEC creating this new entity, the Big 12 is not committed to doing everything that you need to do to win every rep every single day of the year, like it is your only job. How many teams in this conference are committed to doing that? Because obviously I know BYU inside and out. I can tell you they are committed to winning every single rep of the football season, 365 days a year. I can tell you that as much as BYU basketball has sputtered under Kevin Young, they are working their asses off to get it right. They are doing everything that they can do. Hell, at BYU, they want to win every basketball game, they want to win everything.
Doesn't mean they will, but they want to.
That doesn't mean they will, but they are spending the money and allocating the resources to get it done. How many programs in the Big 12 can you say are spending the money and allocating the resources that need to be in place to facilitate winning every single snap and bounce of a football 365 days a year? Because I think it's 2 or 3. I think it's certainly Texas Tech. It is certainly BYU. I think it is certainly, from what I believe, I think it is certainly Utah. I think Utah goes out of its way to spend whatever is required to win in every sport. And their men's basketball program can't seem to win anything. They got bounced last night. But you look at the conference level. You don't have to like the basketball floor. I think it was a resounding success. I think showcasing that court on ESPN was nothing short of spectacular.
Yeah, my only complaint in terms of visibility for the Big 12 so far in the tournament, why am I having to go to ESPN Plus to watch BYU last night? Can I just ask that question?
Because they had conflicting programming.
Yeah, well, I'm not blaming BYU for that, but I'm just saying, dude, it's the Big 12 tournament. I don't need whatever that was last night. I think it was like the MAC tournament or something. There was like some lower end. Like
and we'll get to BYU in the Big 12 tournament in a second. Don't get me wrong. The floor last night, that video flyover on ESPN where they were playing the Big 12 hype video with all the players and the coaches, and that's spectacular. It's everywhere. That was spectacular. And do you want to bet that more conferences will go to using this floor? Because I think it was a resounding success. I agree. And we'll talk about BYU and basketball in a second. But my point is, at the conference level, you have a guy like Brett Yormark and his staff that are doing everything they can do to make you money. And you won't fire Dave Aranda. You won't fire Mike Gundy. You beg Chris Kleiman to keep his job, to not retire. What is the message you are sending? Matt Campbell goes to Penn State, takes the entire football roster with him, and you do almost nothing to replace him or it.
What's the message out of Utah with the Witt situation? Because I agree Utah's trying to win. I mean, I think we all know that.
What's the message with another abysmal season in college basketball at Utah?
Mm-hmm.
You have a palace of a baseball stadium you opened. There is clearly pressure on the softball program. All of your women's sports at Utah get incredible support. Like, you can see the people operating in this league and the ones who are not. And you want to sit here and argue with me about whether K-State, bro, if you believe that what you've seen out of K-State administration is everything you can do to win, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. A lot of trouble. It's an opportunity for a national audience to see TCU play. Bro, you make my head hurt some days. Do you really think Oklahoma State winning a basketball game last night was huge and monumental? Do you really think TCU winning a basketball game in the Big 12 tournament is huge and monumental? They're not competitive nationally. Neither one of them are not competitive nationally. In this league, the teams that are competitive in both football and basketball, count them on one hand. Arizona, but they're still dealing with some financial repercussions that clearly have hurt them. Arizona State found a way to win a basketball game last night, and I don't even know how. Well, because we picked against them. Thanks, Baylor. Great job. Right? Arizona State firing Bobby Hurley. Let's see who they hire. But who's really doing everything that you need to do to win in basketball and football in this league? BYU, Texas Tech.
That's it.
Houston, obviously, Willie's got that program moving in the absolute right direction, but the basketball program is clearly in a really important time. Okay, well, let's say Houston, 3. Who else in this league? Cincinnati? Can you say that about Cincinnati? Probably not. Probably not. Kansas? I think you
can say it about Kansas.
I think you can say that about Kansas.
Yeah.
K-State? No. TCU? Absolutely not. Oak State? Horrendous. Absolutely not. And that's going to take probably 2 years to bear itself out. Let's say that delusional Pastor James White is right about Oak State. They have the greatest quarterback anybody's ever seen now. Do you think they go to the college football playoff? Do they play for the Big 12 championship this year? Are they bowl eligible this year? Because they haven't won a conference game in 2 years. You don't fix that
how big
in
of
one
a
season.
loss, dude. Do you understand how big of a loss it is that Baylor is not good in basketball right now? Like,
huge.
Like, Baylor was a staple of Big 12 basketball, and it's just not. That's just not it, dude. You're talking about a squad that didn't they win the national championship in 21? I believe it was. Might have been 22. I think. Like, you're not. It's not like it was that long ago that you were good. But I don't know, man. I think I don't know, man. I think that I like Brett a lot. I respect Brett a lot. I think he's done a good job. I think it's just that classic scenario, and we've been through this in our life multiple times, where you've got some people who are trying and other people who don't care. And when that's the situation, you got to get out of that situation. So if they want to take the Smash Capital money, if they want to go against what Brett's suggesting, he should leave. I would have no problem with him resigning if they do the Smash deal. 100%, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and I think you're looking at a very dangerous situation for most of, not all of the Big 12. Most of the Big 12. And Marcus makes a really good point, our TV industry insider. How many teams in this league have a TV market that would make them attractive to a Super League? Not many. And I might throw down on the idea that the Pac-12 has as many attractive TV markets as the Big 12. I'd have to get into the numbers, but I think it'd be closer than most people think.
Yeah, but okay, so you're not wrong. that the Pac-12, because of like geographically speaking, sure.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but there's the obvious quotient of TV market geography versus relevancy of the actual team. So if Kansas had South Central, yeah, they'd probably be a bigger brand. I agree with that. But that said, Allen's Fieldhouse is still one of the most iconic venues in college basketball, and ESPN loves putting it on the tube.
What did Darren
So
Peterson call it? Our crib.
yeah, like, you know what I mean? So I think that I agree with Marcus that the TV markets in terms of geography and location are definitely close, and the Pac-12 probably has them. But
This is a Power Four conference that has Manhattan, Kansas,
Mhm.
that has Lawrence, Kansas, that has
that plays its tournament in Kansas City. Like,
Stillwater,
that
Oklahoma.
yeah, like Lubbock. I think that I get it that the Midwest, the West Texas, like you've got some of these markets that theoretically are smaller, but the advantage that they have is they have name recognition. If we're talking about basketball, I think they've got major tournament name recognition. Meaning, if you say Kansas, yes, tournament team. If you say Baylor, historically, yes, tournament team. Arizona, tournament team. BYU, you would think that they would be a tournament team if you said, hey, over the next 10 years, is BYU going to be a consistent contributor in the tournament for the Big 12? I would have to say yes. I do think that BYU is typically going to be in the tournament. Yes. Is Texas Tech going to be in the tournament? Yes. Houston, yes. So I don't disagree that the market thing is close and competitive, but the Pac-12, in my opinion, can't even shake a stick to the Big 12 in basketball. I don't even think it's close. And that's the problem. That's why it upsets me so much. See, that's the very essence of my point, is that you have these brands that historically have been really, really dominant in basketball and have had some good years in football, but have never been able to put it together the way SEC schools are putting it together right now, right? You look at Florida, like all the junk we talk about Summerall. Can you imagine if Florida basketball keeps doing this and then John gets them into CFP contention?
He will get. I'm
Like,
telling you now, he will.
But like the SEC is the front runner, and they haven't even had all their dogs in the fight, dude. That's my point. Is that your conference in the Big 12 that is peddling these excuses and talking about like we don't have enough money and we don't have X, Y, and Z and we don't have all these different things that we need, and the SEC is just getting busy trying to get its other schools that have been struggling the last couple of years to contribute. And I agree. I do think they're going to start to contribute. So I guess I've just moved on from excuse makerville, and I'm just looking at it like, yeah, I want the Big 12 to be good. It would be really good for us if the Big 12 was good. It would be great for us if BYU could go and win a couple of games in the tournament. But they got to go and do that stuff. And that's what's hard about this conference is you just can't trust them to do what you need them to do.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. So if you're just tuning in, our story this morning is that the SEC, the Big Ten, are back collaborating on a new entity. And it seems like, listen, if this is what came out of that summit last week with Dude in D.C., and if that's what came out of this summit last week, this is really good for college athletics, because this other story with the Nebraska arbitration case, 18 Nebraska football players are challenging the College Sports Commission, which is the authority over NIL and approval in, the NIL Go process. And essentially these 18 Nebraska football players have formed a collective to go after the CSC on these NIL deals. And there is a lot at stake here. One, they're in arbitration now. My guess is the players will lose this arbitration case. The House settlement provided for an arbitration process. That's why we're in arbitration. Make no mistake about this. These 18 players have retained powerful lawyers to represent them. If they lose an arbitration, what do you think they're going to do? You know what they're going to do. They're going to sue. So did the House settlement, and I know that we've talked about this. And again, this is one of those things where everybody said I was stupid. Has the House settlement stopped litigation? No, it is not. Because what's at stake for these 18 football players and football players across the country and athletes across the country who've had their NIL deals rejected? If they lose in arbitration, they have to pay back the money they made from those NIL deals if they were paid already. So it's a huge amount of money. They're going to lose in arbitration, in my opinion, and then we're going to end up in court. And the House settlement will be null and void because it essentially fixed nothing. It fixed nothing. And so watch this case with these 18 football players at Nebraska really closely. An arbiter has been appointed. We don't know who it is yet, but we will find out in the coming weeks. And this case right here, in my opinion, will push us further down the road to a new entity. And I am telling you, there is one solution to fix all of this, because what is crippling college athletics right now is not NIL. It is not the transfer portal. It is all of this litigation. What did Greg Sankey say? 2 weeks ago now? When he talked about, I think he was the one, or was it Urban Meyer, who said that the NCAA is toothless. It has no way to protect itself.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, the biggest issue is they are just going to get sued. They make the right decision. They say, hey, this NIL deal does not meet the standard that you all put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to approve it. Oh, we're going to sue because we want you to approve it. And we know that if we sue, you'll have to approve it.
Right.
That's where this is. The NCAA is completely vulnerable. And there is no way to stop it, and there is no way to fix it unless you are willing to come forward. Like you listened to Brett Yormark yesterday at the Big 12 tournament talking about the SCORE Act.
As it relates to some of the guiding principles of the SCORE Act, why I like it, it offers federal preemption. It offers limited liability protection, so we can enforce the rules, which we currently aren't doing. In the SCORE Act, it does give us limited liability protection, so that when we enforce, we're not sued on every decision. So that's why I feel very strongly about the SCORE Act.
And then if you go read our comment section from the show yesterday on Greg Sankey and how, he's only in this because ESPN's his daddy. I love that argument. Greg Sankey's only where he is because ESPN's his daddy. Listen to what Greg Sankey told Paul Feinbaum on ESPN about the SEC breaking off on its own.
We built something really special. I'd be fine if every other institution and every other conference stayed right where they are. I think we've built something with our 16 members that, again, I'll reference yesterday, the game between South Carolina and Texas in Greenville, South Carolina, with a full arena. It wasn't that way when we first went to Greenville in 2005, or even when we started there on our current agreements. And we'll see the kind of excitement again in Nashville. The TV, the media interest in our games is spectacular. I think you need relationships. You always want to be compared, and you want to be competing against the best on a national level. And we've taken what has been historically a regional sport, in college football in particular, or college sports broadly, used the platform of a great region in our 12 states and elevated the interest to a national level.
So and what most people focused on in that bite was, I think it'd be great if everybody else stayed where they are. Well, what is he saying? We don't want everybody. We don't want to be in business with everybody. There's only a few that we want to be in business with. We like our 16 teams. And the question was, will the SEC break off on its own? He said unequivocally no.
Yeah, why do we want to do what I like to call nice guy radio? Why do we want to be nice about the fact that some of these schools just shouldn't be competing at the top of the sport. Like I've said this for years on this show.
Yeah.
Why is it an indictment to say like, yeah, dude, maybe, maybe, Baylor or Oak State or some of these other schools that haven't invested in the modern era, maybe they shouldn't be here. Maybe, maybe it's okay if they don't compete at the very tippy top. Maybe there's a middle ground there. Maybe, maybe we can get to a place where there's 3 levels, right? You've got the Super League, the new entity that's going to cost you a certain amount. That's reserved for the highest of the high, right? You want the best, you want the black card, then you got to pay the fee, right? And then if you're not interested in that, that's no problem. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying that you're a peasant, but you're saying you're not interested. Okay. So then you guys, the rest of you, the group that says no, needs to figure out what's next for them. That shouldn't be, hey, Greg's a bad guy. These schools are elitist. They want to leave everyone behind.
Jake, ESPN is his daddy, Jake.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then what's the Big 12, dude? What's the ACC?
The hard part is, to your point, these schools want to tell you they are competing. They're not. Oh, we're at the top here. No, you're not. There again. I think you're going to cherry pick teams out of the ACC. You're going to cherry pick teams out of the Big 12, and you're going to take everybody in the Big 10 and everybody in the SEC.
Which I agree, there is a massive double standard as far as the Big 10 is concerned.
Although people like Rutgers, Perdone, like you're not taking Perdone out because they're an athletic and really an academic powerhouse. But you look at Rutgers has no business competing at the top of any conference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if we get a Super League where it does, like if we wake up one day and there's a Super League or a new entity, when that happens, because it's not if, I should correct myself, when, because it is going to happen. If that is a thing where you have schools like Rutgers and the dregs of the Big 10 included in that, just summarily because it's the Big 10, I'll have a lot of issue with that. I think that there has to be this Super League / new entity needs to be reserved for people who are willing to put together $40 million rosters, $30 million rosters, reserved for people who are committed for at least 5 to 7 years at a time to compete at a certain monetary level. Because yes. I'm tired of money and lawsuits dominating the conversation in college football. At some point, this sport needs to get back to turning kids into men and creating iconic moments and not allowing the offseason to be dominated by Jimmy the linebacker trying to leave his school after he was tampered with. It burns people out, dude. And I'm not saying that this is just related to fans. You're talking about fans, boosters, presidents, head coaches. Like the system is plagued with it and it needs to be fixed. And the only way to do that, I agree, is to get the SCORE Act done so that there's limited liability protections for everyone. You need that protection.
Yes.
But then 2, there has to be a stringent enforcement body. And this is why I think, again, everyone who called us dumb and stupid and we don't know what we're talking about around the relationship between Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey, it's no surprise that they're both championing the same point around enforcement. Hey, we need to be able to enforce rules. We need to be able to police the system, because if we don't police the system, the cancer known as greed is going to end the system. And that's where I say, like, it's not rocket science, man. I agree that the congressional action required to get this done is difficult. It is a process. It is, hey, like, get the bill introduced, then get it through committees, then get it voted on, then get it to the Senate. Like, that's no easy task, bro. That's going to take time. But before that can take place, I think everyone's got to agree that there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And currently, you've got too many bad actors taking advantage of people.
Okay, so now James has moved on to TCU delusion. TCU is getting hot at the right time. Bro, TCU has won games against really bad basketball teams. I saw a guy in the comment section the other day talking about how it was like his name was like TCU Teddy or whatever it was, about how they've strung
Teddy
all these wins together and they should pay that man his money, and like
Pay that man his money.
I will just continue to say this over and over again. TCU has won games against the dregs of the Big 12 lately. Did they get a win over Texas Tech? Yes. But Texas Tech without Toppin is a completely different team.
Right.
But their wins, their best win in this recent stretch of games is probably Iowa State. It's a good win. But Kansas State, not once but twice, is not a good win. Kansas State is a dumpster fire currently. You look at Oklahoma State, that team's not good. You look at West Virginia, that team's not good. Right? West Virginia, I think, is a 13 loss to 16 and 18 and 13. Right? Like they're not good. They're a 500 team in the conference. Right? Like it's good. This was your argument last year with Baylor football. Oh my God, Baylor football. They have won all these games to end the season, Monty. They're going to be awesome. They're not awesome. Because again, you've got to get past the surface level minutia of, oh, they won the game. Let me read the box score. And then you wind up here. It's true that TCU historically doesn't have a really good basketball program. Historically, but I think you can turn the fortunes of a basketball program BYU.
Quite quickly.
Quite quickly. Because you can buy rosters now. Which is why I think we need an NIL and spending salary cap desperately.
But BYU is also showing the side effects of buying your roster.
I would agree. I would agree. So they want most but not all P4 schools. Okay, are all the brands in the Big Ten enough brands to be included in the new entity? Right, but they have the hammer. They're the ones in control. Yeah. No, the answer is no, they're not big enough brands. Minnesota has no business competing at the top of anything because they never do. They don't. And obviously, my feelings on the Big Ten are very clear on this show. Ohio State and everybody else. And I continue to believe that, and I think that continues to be illustrated. Because, yes, I believe Kyle Whittingham's going to turn Michigan football around. But as long as Jabba the Manual is there, you're a scumbag. You're just who y'all have always been.
Yeah.
So it's Ohio State and everybody else. There's one elite athletic program in that league, and it's Ohio State. Somebody prove me wrong by winning games on the court and the field. Because it's not Michigan. It isn't. Clearly, it's don't Platerson's crib because he only goes there to kick back on the bench. Exactly right. Bobby Fowler.
Hey,
I
Bobby.
love NIL for the players get what they deserve, but they should have had everything set up before they decided to start NIL. College sports, especially football, the litigation and court fees are crazy. It's out of control. Out of control. Whatever one thinks of Greg Sankey, in this case, he's pretty much right. I would agree with that. The schools are not incentivized to perform at a maximum level, especially not in the Big 12. ADAMP 1885. Is that the year you were born? The only answer is a free market system with unlimited NIL. That is a disaster. You cannot have unlimited NIL. It will be the end of college athletics. The free market, this is the democracy is real thing. Democracies don't exist. Look at the scam and fraud in Salt Lake City with the Jazz Arena. Did that ever go to a ballot? No, that's not democracy. Democracy does not exist in this country. Never has and it never will. There is no free market system. 100% agree, Jake. Look at you having a good day.
Okay.
Stadium guy TCU James. Super League equals SEC, Big 10, ACC, and Big 12. No, it does not. It doesn't. Because one, we don't have a Super League, and two, it is whatever the Big Ten and the SEC say it is. And again, not all teams are going to want to be part of a new entity. I'm just telling you that now.
Yep.
Not all teams will want to be part of that. As simply as I can say it. Which ACC teams would make the cut, y'all think? Well, I mean, if you just do the easy math, if you will,
Miami.
Virginia, SMU, Miami, Duke. What about Cal?
No.
I think Cal would be. Clemson, Louisville, Wake, Stanford, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. And I think that's it. I don't think Boston College or Syracuse. I think Syracuse fired their basketball coach, by the way.
They did.
Pitt is interesting. Does Pitt compete at the highest level of college football and basketball? No. Pitt's very interesting to me. But I look at the Big 12, Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, Arizona, Arizona State, K-State, Kansas, TCU. I mean, you're not leaving Baylor out of that. You should. You probably won't. Like, there's just so few teams willing to sell out to win games, to make that money. I think that's the biggest thing, you know. That would be a great username if someone was a TCU fan. Teddy TCU. Nice. Yeah. Taken. It is fair that the big money schools in the Big Ten had cash to Rutgers, Maryland, and Minnesota. Is it fair? No, but it's the Big Ten's money to throw away if they want to. Truth. You know. Chad says exactly. Look at us in Nebraska basketball. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, look at what, Jake?
This right here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is all time right here, dude. This is incredible. Out of James, this comment right here. Wake Forest with their 30K stadium is in, but not Oak State.
It's amazing what happens when somebody like James, when reality sets in, and, you know, like you're looking up and that safe is falling off the top of a building.
The IPF.
And it doesn't hit you in the head. It just lands straight on your ball sack. That's where James is right now. James is figuring out that Oak State is a sack of frauds.
And I'll see you in Valhalla.
He won't admit it. He won't. He'll tell you.
Do you really think stadium size is the thing?
Give us time. Give us time, Monty.
We don't take any shit.
Monty, you gotta give us time, because here at Oak State, we are bootlicking everybody, including Texas State. That's why you gotta move to Texas, because you get Pac-12 football here. Because sure as shit, nobody wants to watch Oak State football. So now I'm a Texas State fan.
The Bobcats.
That's the life that Oak State James lives. Move to Texas. You get all of the conferences. Nobody wants to go to Texas State games. Oh, wait. Nobody wants to go to Oklahoma State games. Even though you have Alan Bowman and the greatest tight end anybody's ever seen. Remember that one, James?
What about Haas Henshi?
Let me tell you something about Preston Stone's cock. Remember that one, James?
3/4 of this is inaccurate.
Remember that? Remember the one where you were like, oh my God, Jake Retzloff is going to win the Heisman Trophy. And then the hose showed up. Remember that one?
I'm
You remember that one? Oh, Mike Gundy, he's just going to have Ollie. Oh,
Dude, Ollie's going to run stairs, and then he's going to run through your mom like a hot knife through butter, boy!
remember that one, James? I do.
Several
Like-
people on ESPN have said Oak State is going to be better this year.
Bro, ESPN's got Oak State. Oh, Hossenji, you stud!
It's a Big 12!
How did Hossenji work out? Remember that one, James? How did? And let me.
I don't know. I don't know if. I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Let me change your diaper gently. Oak State can't be worse than they've been because they haven't won a game in 2 years. Oh man, dude.
Oh, God, ESPN says we're going to be better, Monty. Oh, my God, finally. My prayers. Thoughts and prayers. I've given thoughts and prayers to Oak State. And they've been answered. Instead of going winless every year, we're going to win one game. We're better. We're much improved. Take an esthetician at quarterback.
The one win was the orange and black scrimmage.
Dude, I got to tell you.
Oh, my God. No. Look. Okay, so if Oak State makes a bowl, what will you say?
Dude, didn't TCU go to a bowl game this year? Didn't TCU go TCU's ass?
Oh, dude.
And now
Bro.
we're so much at the point. You said this last year.
Oh, we're going to the Buddy Brow waxing ball.
McCack.
We're playing Texas State, one of the 7 best teams in the state of Texas. This bowl game, I'm going to get in the Japo shit box and we're driving. It's a road trip.
Didn't you say last year we're going to a bowl game this year, Marty?
That's bullshit.
Yeah, and then you didn't win a conference game.
Oh,
So
look at the
now-
pivot. Look at the pivot.
Now we're excited to go to a bowl game.
No, he's fully pivoted off Oak State now. TCU is ass, but they beat USC in the Alamo Bowl.
Monty, let me tell you something about the Alamo Bowl. The Alamo Bowl, if the Alamo Bowl is not prestigious, there's no prestigious anymore.
Your
Hey, they're
third
just-
leg was just phenomenal.
I mean, I cannot tell you how throbbed I was at the Alamo Bowl when TCU, oh man, they won that game. I know they won the game. I read the box score. Anyway, TCU's not ass. They won a bowl game, Monty. And I was at Bucky's talking to Rodney the other day. He's the guy that works behind the counter. Yeah, he spreads
Rod.
he spreads the fecal matter on the taquitos on the roller for Jake. And he was telling me that we went to the Alamo Bowl. I was still an Oak State fan back then. We hadn't gone winless yet. I mean, we were about to, but that doesn't matter.
Come on, dude.
You know. Then we got an esthetician at quarterback, and we're fine. Drew an esthetician.
We're going to a bowl game. You're holding up the entire TCU program on the in Alamo Bowl. Dude, nobody cares about the Alamo Bowl. Hey. Breaking news, nobody gives a rat's about the Alamo Bowl. Nobody cares about the Alamo Bowl.
But Monty, ESPN
God.
and what their writers have said about Oak State.
Who cares? Dude,
But Monty.
if you win,
did a great job with that one.
if Oak State just wins one conference game this year, are they a better football team with an esthetician at quarterback? Well, we're winning one singular conference game. Conference game would be a big step up over what Oak State's done with the great Hall of Famer, amazing Mike Gundy.
Brother.
DUI guy. You know, James got arrested once for trying to break into the basement of the Alamo. I think that's not true, but you know, Wake Forest wins in football and their academics are elite and in a growing market. Oak State, better this year. Hell, yeah, they haven't won a conference game since Christ was a deacon.
You know what? You, God damn it, Randy.
I was just talking about that the other day. I mean, do you guys remember?
I was charting, and the chart showed me that Jesus started his arc as his demon, because he got his demon right when he was going to when he was in school to get his demon. He was in the bishopric, and then he elevated, and his dad built this really cool table because he's a Jewish carpenter and stuff.
What's up, big bro?
You know.
Keep reaching, James. ESP, who exactly? Bishop Sycamore had a pretty good team in 2019.
Listen, hey, mommy. Just so you know, ESPN says Bishop Sycamore is back on the rise this year. They're going to win a game. Way better this year than last year.
That game happens to be their bowl game, though. So that means that they had a good year.
Did you say the Alamo Bowl?
Yeah.
Tom D. James, the only thing that matters is winning, not hopes, prayers, reports, wins. Every day, James puts himself in the crosshairs on this show. And I give you credit for you keep coming. You've tried to quit us. You can't. You know. I bet my little cousin's allowance can pay for more than half of Oak State's.
Hey, look here, man.
Okay, here. Okay. Look at Oak State's schedule. They will get at least 6 wins.
Dude,
okay, now James out
that,
here
dude.
guaranteeing 6 wins again.
So wait, hold on. I just want to rerun the pivot here. Okay, we went from TCU is ass, but they beat USC in the Alamo Bowl. To look at Oak State's schedule, they'll get at least 6 wins. I mean, again, I just don't know how you can be a fan of both, dude. That's not how this works.